Ladies and gentlemen, the entire production staff and technicians on Dragnet wish to thank the American Weekly and the television editors of the various newspapers which distribute the American Weekly for voting Dragnet the best mystery drama on television for 1951-1952. Our deepest thanks for this fine recognition. The story you are about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all king-size cigarettes, brings you Dragnet on both radio and television.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned a juvenile detail. An 8-month-old baby is stolen from its mother. It's the third case of child stealing reported in less than 3 weeks. There's no lead on the suspect. Your job? Get him. Compare Fatima with any other king-size cigarette.
Yes, compare Fatima with any other king-size cigarette.
1. Fatima's length filters the smoke 85 millimeters for your protection.
2. Fatima's length cools the smoke for your protection.
3. Fatima's length gives you those extra puffs, 21% longer than standard cigarette size.
Fatima gives you more for your money.
And in king-size Fatima, you get an extra mild and soothing smoke, plus the added protection of Fatima quality. Buy Fatima in the bright, sunny yellow pack. Best of all, king-size cigarettes.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Wednesday, June 18th. It was warm in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of Juvenile Division. My partner's Frank Smith. The boss is Captain Stein. My name's Friday. It was 6:30 p.m. when we got back to 1335 Georgia Street, second floor, the squad room.
Hi, been waiting for you.
Hi, Captain.
How's it going? Any sign of the baby?
No, not yet. We're doing everything we can. We haven't got a lead to her name.
Lousy thing. How's it stack up? Anything like the last 2 cases?
Yeah, quite a bit. Same neighborhood, same general M.O.
We checked with just about everybody in the vicinity. No one saw the baby taken. Happened about 10 o'clock this morning?
10:15. This Mrs. Donaldson drove down to the neighborhood shopping center to do her marketing. She had the baby in a bassinet in the back seat of her car. Baby boy, 8 months old.
Mm-hmm.
She pulled into the parking lot right behind the market, left the baby asleep in the car. She went in to do her shopping. When she came out, the baby was gone.
How long was she in the market?
She told us about 20 minutes.
We talked to a half a dozen people who drove their cars in and out of the parking lot about that time. They couldn't help me. They didn't see anyone loitering around.
How about delivery trucks? They usually unload supplies at the back door, don't they?
Already checked on that. We talked to the driver of a bread truck. He was making a delivery about that time. He couldn't help us either. The mother, Mrs. Donaldson, she's the only one who came up with anything at all. It's not much, but it's better than nothing.
Yeah?
Well, when she parked her car and got out to go in the market, she noticed a woman sitting in the car parked next to hers. When she came back and found her baby was gone, she noticed that this woman's car was gone, too.
Mrs. Donaldson described the woman for you?
Yeah, she was middle-aged. She had gray hair. That's all she remembered.
How about the car the woman was in?
It was a green sedan. That's the only thing Mrs. Donaldson could tell us. She's not even sure of that.
And there's no one else around the market that remembered the car, huh?
Well, if there is, we haven't found him.
We covered the whole neighborhood, Skipper. Talked to everybody we could. Got us nowhere. Smoke, Captain?
Oh, thanks.
You, Joe?
Yeah, thank you. I got a light.
Okay.
Captain?
No kickback yet on the broadcast. The old points you got out on the baby?
No, nothing. Up to now, it's a carbon copy of the last 2 jobs. No suspect, no motive.
Mrs. Donaldson can't think of any reason at all for it.
No, not a one. Her husband's a teamster. They don't have much money. She couldn't think of any friend or relative who might possibly want to take their baby.
The baby normal, in good health?
Yeah, perfect.
It's got me. This makes it about 1 a week.
Just about. Martin baby was taken on the 5th. The Andrews baby was taken on the 12th. Both of them recovered in 24 hours. Nothing wrong with either of them. Sure doesn't make sense.
Must be a psycho case of some kind. I think we can go along on that.
Well, this one happened near 8th and Dinehart, that right?
Yeah, same neighborhood as the other two. About a 12-square block area there.
How about that lead you had on the old man out there? Did you exhaust that?
Yeah, the old gardener?
Mm-hmm.
We double-checked him this afternoon. He wasn't anywhere near the market when the Donaldson baby was taken.
How about the other 2 people you had your eye on? Either of them anywhere near the scene at the time?
Neither one of them, Skipper. Both clear.
How's it stand now?
Well, we're doing everything possible. Dean Bergman went over the Donaldson car for prints. The bassinet, too. There's no word from him yet. Special detail from Metro Division still going over the neighborhood. Nothing from them either.
No sign of any physical evidence, huh? I mean, besides any possible prints.
No, nothing, Captain. The usual number of tips from people in the neighborhood. Checked on all of them. They went nowhere.
Well, we've just about run the gamut on this thing. You have anything in mind?
Well, Joe and I were kicking around an idea on the way back in. Figure it might be worth a try. I mean, providing we get the Donaldson case cleared.
Yeah?
Joe?
Well, for one thing, we figure the neighborhood out there works in our favor. All three of the babies were taken in the same 12-square block area. It's the strongest part of the M.O. that we got to work on. Now, if we get good enough coverage in that area out there, it might lead somewhere.
What kind of coverage?
Well, maybe a system of decoys, something to draw the suspect out at the right time, the right place.
Makes sense. What have you got in mind?
Well, Frank and I were figuring if we could round up half a dozen policewomen or so, let them work different points around the neighborhood and make it obvious that they're housewives.
Yeah?
Have each one of them with a baby carriage. Spot them at the shopping centers out there in that area. They leave the carriages outside the stores, go through the motions of doing their shopping, and cover each one of them.
Mm-hmm. What do you do for bait?
I think we can fake it, Skipper. Put a life-size doll in each of the carriages, keep it pretty well covered. Fair chance it'll get us a nibble if we work it right.
About half a dozen policewomen. That's what you figure?
Yeah, I figure that ought to do it.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
Juvenile Division, Captain Stein. Yeah, that's right. Uh-huh. How's that? I see. Mrs. Bolger. Yes, ma'am, I understand. How's that? Yes, ma'am, if you like. All right, thank you. Goodbye. Queer one.
Yeah.
Either one of you contacted Mrs. Marion Bolger the last month or so?
No, it's not familiar to me. How about you, Frank?
Don't recall the name. Why?
Bolger.
That was her on the phone. She wants to be investigated. Says she wants to prove to us that she's not involved in any of these child-stealing cases.
How do you spell that name?
Marion Bolger, Bolger, Ewing Street address.
No, I never heard of her. What's the pitch?
Got me. She kept saying she's got to have her name cleared. She's innocent. Kept insisting she didn't steal the Donaldson baby.
Well, we didn't say she did. We don't even know the woman.
You're going to. Check her out.
We ran the name Marion Bolger through R&I, but there was no previous criminal record on her. 7:25 p.m. Frank Smith and I left the office and drove out to the Ewing Street address to interview the Bolger woman. Before we called at her home, we checked with some of the neighbors. Most of them had a favorable opinion of her. They described her as a pleasant woman, slightly eccentric. The only complaint was that the Bolger woman was very fond of children and that she kept most of the youngsters on the block well supplied with cake and candy, despite repeated objections from the youngsters' parents. Other than that, they seemed to like her. 8:05 p.m., Frank and I called on Mrs. Bolger, and she ushered us into a neatly furnished living room. She was an older woman, possibly in her early 60s, dark brown hair streaked with gray.
It's the honest truth, Sergeant. Anybody who really knows me would tell you I wouldn't do a thing like that. I love children. I want all of them to be happy. I wouldn't steal anybody's
Just a
baby.
minute, Mrs. Bolger, please. Something we'd like to get straight.
I don't care how it looks. I don't care what they say. I didn't do it. I didn't steal those other two babies. I didn't steal the Donaldson baby either.
How'd you know the Donaldson baby was missing, ma'am? It just happened this morning.
The evening paper. The whole story's in there. It's the first I knew about it, so help me when I got my evening paper. Please, Sergeant, you got to believe me.
All right, now try to take it easy, ma'am. What gives you the idea that we're accusing you of taking those babies?
Well, you haven't yet. Not in so many words. You're thinking about it, though. I know that. You've been told.
How do you mean, told what?
You know what I mean. All those stories going around about me. And just because I like children, because I enjoy them, I understand them. Just because of that, they try to make me out a witch or something, trying to say I took those poor little babies.
All right, just a minute, ma'am. Who said you took the babies?
Down at the store this afternoon. I heard them. That grocery clerk and that silly Mrs. Murdoch. They laughed about it. Tried to make out there's only fooling. Well, I knew better. They weren't fooling. They meant it. Accusing me of such a terrible thing. I just don't know when I've been so upset.
Well, now, what grounds would they have for saying anything like that, ma'am? I mean, even if they were fooling.
Only because I love children, that's all. People in the neighborhood are the same way. They don't like me. They go around saying things about me. Just because I understand their children better than they do. Just because I know how to treat children.
No, I think you got it wrong, Mrs. Bolger. The only complaint your neighbors have is that you treat children too well. A little too much candy, huh?
Well, nothing wrong with giving a child candy. Good homemade fudge. I make it myself. Besides, how would you know about that?
We talked to your neighbors, ma'am. They had a lot of nice things to say about you.
Yes, I just bet they did. Nasty, dirty stories. They've been passing them all over the neighborhood about me.
No, ma'am, you've got it wrong.
Just let me show you. Come in here. This way, the dining room.
Yes, ma'am.
Look at that. Look at that.
Yes, ma'am, it's very nice.
You see how I decorated the table? Paper streamers all over the room. It is supposed to be a party for the children in the neighborhood. I worked a whole week getting it ready. I made the cakes myself, decorated them, too. I made everything in my own kitchen. Candy, sandwiches. Took me a whole week. And they didn't even come. They didn't come.
Ma'am?
The neighborhood children. It was supposed to be for them. Special summer party I wanted to give them today. They didn't even come. The parents wouldn't let them. Not one of them. It's a crime. Terrible crime. All this good food.
Well, now, maybe there was a mistake, ma'am.
There wasn't any mistake. I invited the children, 14 of them. Mothers wouldn't let them come. I had everything ready. Little favors for each one of them. Now, look. Ice cream's all melted. Hot cocoa boiled away to nothing.
Yes, ma'am.
Even the paper streamers are coming down. Such a mean thing to do. Keeping children from a party. Such a mean thing.
Well, we don't like to bother you, Mrs. Bolger. Just like to ask you a few routine questions, then we'll let you alone.
Anything you want to know, Sergeant?
Can you account for your time this morning, ma'am, between 9 a.m. and 11 a.m.?
Yes, of course I can. I was right here in the house getting things ready for the party. My friend Aggie Benson was with me. She's a school chum of mine. She was helping me get things ready.
Well, then you didn't leave the house at any time this morning, then?
No, sir, I didn't. You can ask Aggie. She'll tell you.
Do you have a car, Mrs. Bolger?
Oh, my, no. I wouldn't know what to do with it if I had one. I never learned to drive. Why'd you want to know?
Just routine, ma'am. Well, I guess we better be going, Frank.
All right, Jim.
And you don't believe those stories, do you? I mean, just because I like children, I'd steal those babies. You don't believe that, do you?
No, ma'am. We haven't any reason to believe it.
I knew you'd understand. I wouldn't do a thing like that. I just love children, Sergeant. Never had any of my own. Living here by myself. No husband, lonely. Terrible thing being lonely.
Yes, ma'am, yes.
There's only one answer for it. Children. Big family. It's an old saying. It's very true.
Ma'am.
When you get to be 63, you want something else to wake up to beside the morning paper.
8:40 p.m. Before we headed back for the office, Frank and I made a thorough check on Mrs. Bolger, her background and her alibi. We found nothing to link her in any way with the child stealings. 9:15 p.m. We got back to the city hall and went directly to Leighton Fingerprints, where we met with Dean Bergman. He'd found several sets of prints on the Donaldsons' car and on the bassinet from which their baby had been stolen. Most of them were those of the parents, Mr. and Mrs. Donaldson. Bergman was unable to identify the 2 foreign prints found inside the car. We contacted the officers in charge of the special detail checking the neighborhood where the latest child stealing had occurred. They'd failed to uncover a lead. 7:48 a.m. the following morning.
Friday?
Morning, Captain.
Good piece of news. The Donaldson baby, they just found him.
Where?
Highland Park area. They found him in a cardboard box. Apparently he's all right. A little exposure. Doctors are checking him over now at Georgia Street.
How about the suspect? Any sign of him?
Not a trace.
It was little or no different than the first 2 cases. Some 21 hours after he'd been abducted from the car in the parking lot at the rear of the market near 8th and Dinehart, the Donaldson baby had been recovered apparently unharmed. The cardboard box in which the baby had been found was gone over for fingerprints. Routine investigation at the scene and in the neighborhood where the child had been found failed to turn up a lead on the abductor. Frank and I checked with Dr. George Hall, who'd examined the child. After that, we talked with Mr. and Mrs. Donaldson. The details of the case coincided almost point for point with the first 2 abductions. The baby had been taken, then recovered in a 24-hour period. Outside a slight exposure, the child was unharmed. Also, like the 2 cases preceding it, something which the child was wearing at the time of his abduction was missing. In the first case, it was a small pink sweater. In the second, a pair of shoes the baby was wearing. In the case of the Donaldson baby, it was a sterling silver ID bracelet with the initials J.D. engraved on it. During the next 5 days, Frank and I ran down every lead we could get our hands on. They went nowhere. Our system of policewomen decoys was put in effect. It failed to get a rise. On the 6th day, Thursday, June 26th, 5:30 p.m., we got word of another child stealing, this time in the Echo Park area. We drove out to talk to the mother, a Mrs. Chester Osborne.
Yeah, that's right. I did the same thing I do every morning. Gave the baby her bath, dressed her, put her out in the backyard in her buggy. She usually plays a while, then she takes her nap.
And about what time did you discover your baby was missing?
I don't know exactly. About 2 o'clock, I guess. Maybe a couple of minutes after. Went out to see how she was, looked in the buggy, and she was gone.
Well, it's almost 6 o'clock now, Miss Osborne. How is it that you waited so long before you notified us?
Just kept hoping it was a mistake, that's all. I went from house to house all over the neighborhood. Went as far as 3 blocks away. I asked everybody. Nobody saw my baby. You don't know what it means to me.
The telephone, Miss Osborne.
Would you answer it, please? Whoever it is, take the number. I'll call him back.
Yes, ma'am. Be glad to. Hello. Yeah. Yes, sir. Oh, yeah, Harry. We're here now. This is Friday. How's that? When? I see. Where? That's all. Uh-huh. Okay, Harry, thanks. Yeah, tell him we'll be right in. Right away. Okay, bye. Well, that was our office, Mrs. Osborne. You can stop worrying now.
What?
It's about your little girl. She's all right.
What do you mean?
I just found her 3 blocks from here. Again, with the lone exception of the time element, the Osborne baby's abduction resembled closely the 3 previous cases. The crime occurred in the same general area. The same general method of operation was employed. And again, outside of slight exposure, the child was recovered unharmed. There was also an article of clothing missing, a pink knitted bonnet. And, as in the previous 3 cases, the suspect had abandoned the baby without detection. Routine investigation by the crime laboratory crew and juvenile officers working the case failed to turn up a lead. During the week that followed, additional personnel for both decoys and stakeouts were assigned to the area without results. Friday, July 4th, 10 a.m.
Joe, you busy?
What do you got, Frank?
Gal by name Mildred Leslie just called in on this child stealing thing. Looks like it might be something.
Yeah, what's the pitch?
Well, this Leslie girl's employed as a maid for a Mr. and Mrs. Roth, R-O-T-H.
Mm-hmm.
She's a stockbroker. She's worked for him a year or so, she says.
Yeah.
The Leslie girl's an upstairs maid for the Roths. She's been following this baby stealing case in the papers right along. She thinks maybe Mrs. Roth can tell her something about it.
Yeah, how's that?
Well, the Leslie girl was cleaning Mrs. Roth's bedroom yesterday. She came across a few things stored back in one of the closets. Baby things. Pink sweater, pink bonnet, and a pair of baby shoes.
Uh-huh.
And she says they've all been used. They're not new.
Well, a lot of mothers save baby clothes, things like that.
No, the Roth woman wouldn't have a reason to.
Yeah?
She's never had any children.
You are listening to Dragnet, authentic stories of your police force in action.
The only way you can prove to yourself that Fatima is the best of all king-size cigarettes is to compare them with the brand you've been smoking.
Yes, compare Fatima with any other king-size cigarette.
1. Fatima's length filters the smoke 85 millimeters for your protection.
2. Fatima's length cools the smoke for your protection.
3. Fatima's length gives you those extra puffs, 21% longer than standard cigarette size.
Your money back plus postage if you're not convinced Fatima is better than your present king-size cigarette.
Just return the pack and the unsmoked Fatimas by August 1st, 1952. Fatima, Box 37, New York 1.
More and more of your friends are switching to king-size Fatimas every day.
Compare them yourself tomorrow. Buy Fatima in the bright, sunny yellow pack and enjoy the added protection of Fatima quality.
Friday, July 4th, 11 a.m. Frank Smith and I left the office and drove out to interview Mildred Leslie at her apartment. She told us substantially the same thing she told Frank on the phone. The Leslie girl had been employed as a maid by Mr. and Mrs. Roth for almost a year. She went on to tell us that for the last few months or so, Mrs. Roth, who was a fairly prominent clubwoman, had been acting peculiarly, and that Mr. Roth was worried about her. According to the Leslie girl, he'd consulted a doctor several times about his wife. As for the articles of baby clothing, they'd been found stored back on a shelf in Mrs. Roth's bedroom closet. The Leslie girl told us that she happened to find them while cleaning and dusting Mrs. Roth's bedroom. Each of the articles she claimed she saw seemed to tie in directly with the child stealings. A pink sweater, a pink bonnet, a pair of baby shoes. Identical items of clothing had been taken from each of the previous abduction victims. After we left Mildred Leslie, Frank and I got to a phone, called the record bureau, and had them make a run for us on Mrs. Roth. She had no previous criminal record. 1:20 p.m. We called Mr. Roth at his place of business, but the office was closed because of the 4th of July holiday. We got in the car and drove out to the Roth home, an old 2-story mansion just above Silver Lake Reservoir. Mrs. Roth wasn't at home. We interviewed her husband in the living room.
What seems to be the trouble, Sergeant? Why would you want to see my wife?
There's a few questions we'd like to ask her, Mr. Roth. Can you tell us where she is now?
She took a drive with some friends of hers. I think they were going down to the beach club. Why?
Well, we're investigating a juvenile case, Mr. Roth. We think maybe your wife can give us some information on it.
Well, I'm sorry she isn't home. It's too bad you didn't call this morning. She didn't leave until after 11. She'll be home later tonight if you care to call back. You're sure it's not something I can help you with?
Well, yes, sir, maybe you can. I'd like to ask you a few questions about your wife's activities the last month or so.
Well, how do you mean? Some of the social work she does with the club?
Not quite, Mr. Roth.
You said you were from the juvenile division. Is it something regarding her work with the underprivileged kids? Her club does quite a bit of that, you know. Afraid I don't know too much about it, though.
No, sir, it's not that.
Well, I don't think I understand. What is it about?
Well, Mr. Roth, we want you to understand that this is merely a routine investigation. We don't want to offend you in any way, but we have some information that we've got to check out.
What do you mean? What kind of information?
Well, there's been a series of child stealing cases the last month or so. We're the investigating officers on it. Maybe you read about them in the papers.
Yes, I have, but what would my wife have to do with that? You think she has some information for you? She didn't say anything about it to me.
Yes, sir. I think she can help us quite a bit.
I don't know exactly when she'll be home. I don't have any place to contact her. I do know the club's taking a group of children to the Coliseum tonight, the big 4th of July fireworks display, you know.
Yes, I see.
I'm going to meet my wife there tonight. Maybe I could give her a message for you, tell her to contact you.
All right, fine, Mr. Roth. There is something that you can do for us right now, though.
Yes?
Would you take us up to your wife's room? I'd like to have a look at it.
Take you to her room? I don't understand. What for?
Well, like we told you before, sir, it's a routine investigation. I think if you take us to your wife's room, I think we can clear the whole thing up now. It probably won't be necessary to bother you tonight.
Well, I certainly don't understand, but come along if you like. The Doris's room is right at the head of the stairs.
Thank you.
Certainly has me baffled. What would there be about Doris's room? It has to be investigated.
We don't know that there is anything, sir. Just appreciate your cooperation.
Not at all. We haven't anything to hide. Here we are. This is her room. Now, what is it you're looking for?
And that's the bedroom closet, is it?
Yes, that's right.
Like to look at it if we could?
Certainly. Go right ahead.
All right.
There's a shelf up there, Joe. Can you reach it all right?
Yeah, I think so.
What is it? What are you looking for?
Here you go, Frank.
Yeah. Pink bonnet, pink sweater.
That's it. Here's the baby shoes. The ID bracelet. Yeah, initials J.D.
Not much doubt.
No.
Baby clothes. Bracelet. Never seen them around here. How'd you know they were here?
Well, we weren't sure that they were.
But I'd never seen them before. What are they doing in Doris's room? Why would she have them? I have to talk to her about this.
Yes, sir, so do we. After finding the evidence in his wife's bedroom closet, we continued to interview Mr. Roth. We briefed him on the details of the case and explained about the articles of baby clothing. He was very cooperative, but he found it hard to believe that his wife was responsible for the abduction of the babies. He told us that early in their marriage, his wife did have a child which died shortly after birth. Complications left her unable to have any more children. When she found out about this, it resulted in Mrs. Roth having a nervous breakdown, but apparently she recovered completely. Roth went on to tell us that his wife was very fond of children and that she devoted a great deal of time to social work, caring for underprivileged children. He also told us that during the past month, with the recurrence of her nervous condition, she'd been under a doctor's care. Shortly after 8 o'clock that night, along with Mr. Roth, we drove to the Coliseum, where crowds of people were gathering for the annual July 4th fireworks display. Roth pointed out his wife. We went over and he introduced us.
These officers would like to talk to us, honey. Let's step over here.
Well, I can't leave the children alone. Can't we talk later?
No, honey, it's pretty important. I think you better talk to them now.
Well, all right. If you say so, you'll have to stay and watch the children, though.
They'll be all right. We can keep an eye on them from over there.
No, I can't leave them alone. You'll have to stay.
Well, all right.
Ma'am, I wonder if you step over here, please.
Yes, all right.
This ought to be all right here.
Beautiful night tonight, isn't it? Children just love these things. I think they're just about ready to start the show. Yes. Just look at that. The colors. Isn't that gorgeous?
Yes, ma'am. We'd like to drive you and your husband downtown to Juvenile Division. We'd like to talk to you.
What do you mean? I can't leave now. I have these children with me. What did you want to see me about? What's the trouble?
I think you know why we're here, Mrs. Roth.
I don't. Why do you want to talk to me?
Well, we can start here, ma'am. We were at your home this afternoon. Your husband showed us your bedroom, the closet. We found the things up on the top shelf.
What?
The baby clothes, the bracelet.
Oh, beautiful. Just beautiful.
How about it, Mrs. Roth? You want to come along downtown?
Just baby clothes. Had them in my closet. It doesn't mean anything.
I'm afraid you're wrong. It means a good deal, ma'am. You know that.
Yes. All right.
Well, do you want to tell us about it, Ms. Roth? Ms. Roth?
Where do I start? There's no beginning. Just started. I couldn't help myself. What can I say?
You just tell us what happened. Start any place.
My baby died. Then they said I couldn't have any more. Guess it started then. I told my husband, told the doctor, too. They didn't understand. Nobody understands. It's all I wanted. My children, my own children.
How about the Martin baby, Mrs. Roth? The first one you took. How'd that happen?
beautiful, white. Beautiful.
What about it, ma'am? The Martin baby? How'd that happen?
I saw him in the baby carriage outside the market there. Such a cute baby. Pulled the covers back, looked at him. I didn't think I was going to steal him. After I looked at him, I just wanted to hold him. Hold him close, so I picked him up. You understand, don't you?
Yes, ma'am.
He was such a sweet baby. Could have been mine. I kept on holding him. Then I started to put him down, back in his carriage. I couldn't.
What do you mean, ma'am?
I couldn't put the baby down. It was just like mine. It was mine. I can't explain it. I took the blanket from the buggy. I put it around him. I walked away. Nobody knew. It was my baby.
Yes, ma'am. Would you go on?
Oh, my head. Terrible headache. It's so hard to tell you. I couldn't even tell my husband. I lied. I'd take the baby and stop overnight at a motel. I'd tell my husband lies. I couldn't let him know.
Well, you knew you were doing wrong, didn't you?
Yes, I knew it. Not when I was taking the baby, though. Not when I picked them up. Not when I held them in my arms, held them close. It didn't seem wrong. Most natural thing in the world. I just pretended. I'd pick the baby up and I'd hold it close. It was my baby. All of a sudden, it was my baby. Later on, I had to stop pretending. The baby wasn't mine. I had to give it back. Isn't that wonderful? Look, streamers, a shower of stars. It's marvelous.
Why'd you abandon the children, ma'am, without notifying anyone?
I knew they'd be found. I made sure of that. I always put them someplace where they had to be found. Terrible headache. You don't know what it's been like. I couldn't tell anyone, no one.
Yes, ma'am. You about ready to go now?
All right. If I could only explain it to you. I mean, having a baby, then losing it. You don't know what it's like. No one will ever know what it's like. No one.
You took 4 babies, ma'am.
Yes.
How about their mothers?
The story you have just heard was true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
On October 10th, trial was held in Superior Court, Department 88, City and County of Los Angeles, State of California. In a moment, the results of that trial.
Now, here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you, George Fenneman. Friends, I believe all of us are willing to take practical advice. That's why I like to make it plain that I want you to compare Fatima with the king-size cigarette you've been smoking. I know that's the tried, practical way thousands have convinced themselves Fatima is the best of all king-size cigarettes. You'll find Fatima give you more for your money, an extra mild, soothing smoke, plus the added protection of Fatima quality. Tomorrow, get Fatima in the bright, sunny yellow pack. Best of all king-size cigarettes.
Doris Evelyn Roth was tried and convicted of child stealing under Section 278 Penal Code, 4 counts. She was placed on 5 years probation. One of the terms of probation required that she would be under strict supervision of a competent psychiatrist. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department. Technical advisors Captain Jack Donahoe, Sergeant Marty Wynn, Sergeant Vance Brasher. Heard tonight were Herb Ellis, Vic Perrin, Virginia Gregg. Script by Jim Moser. Music by Walter Schumann. Hal Gibney speaking.
King-size Fatima, made by the same people who make popular Chesterfield cigarettes, has brought you Dragnet, transcribed from Los Angeles.
Each Thursday night, it's thousands of pressure pads designed to massage away tension and provide relief for tired, sore, aching feet.
I think the Okabashi shoes are just wonderful.
Okabashi Comfort Sandals. Available at CVS, Arbor Drug, and selected Cub Foods and Kroger stores.
Here's your chance to connect with a classic at Hollywood's famous haunt, the Roosevelt Hotel. Enter the AMC Connect with a Classic sweepstakes for a chance to win a Los Angeles trip for two to attend an exclusive Hollywood seance. Send a postcard by May 31st with your name, address, and phone to AMC Connect with a Classic, P.O. Box 9101, Bridgeport, New Jersey, 08014. And watch AMC Saturday Classics every Saturday, 5 p.m. Eastern. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited. For official rules, send a self-addressed stamped envelope to AMC Rules, P.O. Box 909, New York, New York, 10108.
Mike woke me up again last night.
Oh, no.
Yeah, 4 trips to the bathroom.
Well, doesn't he know about Propomix?
He won't talk about it.
Oh.
Every time I say Propomix promotes prostate health, he hums.
Don't talk. Just buy him Propomix.
Propomix from SunSource, the natural supplement that supports prostate health. 2 a day and you'll start seeing results in about 4 weeks. Satisfaction guaranteed. At food and drug stores. Learn more. Call 888-439-8300.
Propomix for prostate health.
Use as directed.
This is Diane Carroll for Exactech RSG. My mother lives with diabetes, so when an accuracy innovation in blood glucose monitoring comes along, my family wants to know about it. Exactech RSG is different. Its test strips are made to such high standards you don't have to calibrate ever. Now, we don't worry about calibration errors that could cause readings to be up to 3 times too high. Best of all, they cost less. You could save hundreds of dollars every year. Better accuracy, less cost. That's Exactech RSG.
Welcome back. I'm Stan Freeberg. What singer and radio pioneer was known as the First Lady of Radio and the original Radio Girl? I'll have the answer for you at the end of our show, but now it's time for Dum-da-dum-dum. That's right, Dragnet. Jack Webb stars as Sergeant Joe Friday of the Los Angeles Police Department. It's back to June 5th, 1952 for The Big Whiff on Dragnet.
The story you are about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent. You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned a homicide detail. A woman is found dying in a vacant lot. Her identity unknown. Your job, investigate.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Thursday, October 16th. It was cloudy in Los Angeles. We were working the night watch out of homicide detail. My partner's Frank Smith. The boss is Captain Lorman. My name's Friday. It was 9:48 p.m. when I got to Georgia Street Receiving Hospital, Dr. Hall's office.
Joe, how are you?
Hi, Doc. How about that case you got in from 7th and Union? How's she doing?
She died about 5 minutes ago.
Fill me in. What do you got on it?
You talked to the radio car officers, ones that handled the call?
Frank's talking to him now out in the lobby. Thought I'd check in with you while he was handling that end.
Not an awful lot to tell you, Joe. Ambulance G2 brought her in from the location. She was alive when they brought her in. Did everything I could for her. Didn't help much. Too far gone.
Yeah, what's it look like?
Chloroform poisoning. Pretty obvious. Probably self-administered. Looks like that anyway. She didn't last long.
It's a little unusual, huh? Chloroform?
Yeah. Under the circumstances, it sure is.
Anything else?
How do you mean?
Well, any probable causes? Any marks on her?
No, a little scratch on her wrist. That's about all.
Where you got her now? Can we look at her?
Yeah, bag number 3. Come on.
All right. Ed Barrett called us, asked us for help. It's a rough night, huh?
Yeah. Traffic went crazy tonight. Dozen cases in the last 2 hours. Couple of homicides, too. Busy night.
You got the weekend coming up, huh?
Yeah, not looking forward to it. Here we go. Over here.
That chloroform sure hangs on, doesn't it? Sure strong.
Notice the burns around her mouth, her nose, discoloration.
Well, who is she? Any idea?
We got her down as Jane Doe. You're going to have to take it from there. I understand the radio car officers couldn't identify her.
Apparently pretty well off, huh? Nice clothes. Seems to be well kept.
I'd say so. Expensive jewelry there. The rings, wristwatch.
A little strange for a probable suicide, isn't it? Looks like she took good care of herself. Hair all done up, fingernails. About how old, would you say?
Not more than 35. Just about that. Here's the chart on her. Time arrival, 9:38 p.m. from southwest corner, 7th and Union, vacant lot. Reason for call, possible drunk woman down, Jane Doe, number 4. Mm-hmm. Female, Caucasian, approximate age 35. Weight 128 1/4. Height 5'4", brown hair, hazel eyes. Listed as Nordic descent, probable suicide. That's it.
Okay, Doc, thanks. I better look up Frank, see what he's got, huh?
Okay. Haven't notified the coroner yet. You fellas want to take care of that?
Yeah, sure, we'll call him. About all we can do unless we find some relatives to notify, huh?
Joe?
Yeah, Frank.
Oh, hi, Doc. How are you?
Frank, looks like you're losing weight.
Yeah, 4 pounds in 2 weeks. Not too bad for me, anyway. What'd you get, Joe?
Chloroform poisoning, probable suicide. Find out who she is?
I gotta get back to my office. If there's anything I can help you with, come on back.
Right, Doc. Thanks very much.
Okay.
How about it? Any identification?
No, I talked to the fellas that took the call. Unit 182. It was a routine call. 390W down. They couldn't find out who put the call in. Said they found her in a vacant lot lying over against the side of the building.
Yeah.
They said she looked like she'd been drinking, then they got a whiff of the chloroform. And they found this empty container by her side. Here.
Yeah. Ties in.
They were careful handling it.
Anything else?
Well, while they're waiting for the ambulance, they talked to some of the people in the neighborhood. They couldn't tell them anything about the woman. The building they found her next to is a vacant store.
No identification on her at all? Huh?
No, nothing. No purse or wallet. I checked missing persons. No one of her description reported. Fellows who handled the call said they went over her clothing. No marks of identification.
Better notify Leighton Prince, huh? Maybe they can identify her.
Already called him, Joe. Looks like probable suicide. Sure, a new twist, though. Chloroform route.
Doesn't figure, does it?
What do you think?
I don't know. No violence committed on the body. No indication of robbery. She had a wristwatch on. Rings, too.
Wouldn't figure anyway. Chloroform angle.
Yeah. No other physical evidence out there, huh? I mean, besides the chloroform container?
Nothing else besides a handkerchief. Yeah, a plain white handkerchief, chloroform on it. They found it next to the body. It's the only thing that doesn't fit 100%.
What do you mean?
It's a man's handkerchief.
10:25 p.m. Frank and I took the dead woman's clothing, the handkerchief, and the almost empty container of chloroform and drove back downtown to the office. We dropped off the clothing and the handkerchief at the crime lab to be processed for possible identifying marks. The chloroform container was taken to latent fingerprints for examination. The following morning, the body of the unidentified woman was taken to the county morgue for posting. As soon as the dead woman's prints were made available to us, they were checked through our record bureau and also through the record bureau at the sheriff's office. In addition, they also made a run on her description. They were unable to identify her. We checked with the crime lab, but they couldn't help us either. A detailed examination of the dead woman's clothing failed to yield any leads as to her identity. Latent prints didn't have any better luck with the chloroform container. The only prints they found on it were those of the dead woman. Meantime, the morning papers had picked up the story and given it front page billing. 11:16 a.m.
How's that again, Doc? Uh-huh. Yeah, I see. Mm-hmm. A little unusual, wouldn't you say? Yeah. Okay, we'll pick it up after lunch. Right, goodbye.
Anything?
Yeah, Doc Cephalo at the morgue just finished posting the body.
What'd he say?
The chloroform killed her. They even found traces of it in the stomach.
Huh?
That's right.
It's a weird one, isn't it?
Doesn't leave much doubt. Suicide.
No indication it was anything else, is there? I got it. Homicide, Friday talking. Yes, sir. Yeah? Mitchell? Mm-hmm. That's so. Yeah, sure, be glad to. Yeah, we'll be here. You want to give us your address? Hello? Oh, here we go.
What was it, Joe?
Somebody by the name of James Mitchell. He's on his way down to see us, wants to talk to us about the dead woman.
Yeah?
He says he killed her. 11:50 a.m. While Frank and I waited around for Mitchell to show up, we checked his name through R&I, but we were unable to find anything on him. A few minutes before 1 p.m., a short, blonde-haired man in a blue serge suit entered the squad room and asked for us. He introduced himself as James Mitchell. Frank and I took him to the interrogation room where we started to question him. He told us he was a steel worker by trade, currently unemployed. He said he was originally from Alabama, that he'd been in California for approximately 2 years. After that, he lapsed into silence. We tried to question him about the dead woman, but we made little headway. The only admission we could get from him was that he killed the woman. Outside of that, he refused to say anything.
Now, how about it, Mitchell? What's the trouble? You called us, volunteered a confession. You said you killed the woman. You wanted to tell us a story. Now, why don't you answer our questions?
Jim, how about it? Aren't you feeling well? You want us to call a doctor? Jim?
You're not giving us much of an out, mister. You volunteered to make yourself a suspect in this thing. You say you killed the woman. Now, why didn't you answer the questions?
We can't keep this up forever. You ought to know that. You haven't answered the question almost an hour now. Look, if you're not going to talk, Jim, there's only one thing we can do. We're going to have to book you.
Mitchell? Is that what you want?
Go ahead and book me. I killed her. Go on, book me.
Well, why can't you tell us the story? Now, you admit you killed the woman. Why won't you tell us about it?
Why should I? I killed her. That's all you have to know.
You said on the phone you'd tell us the whole story, didn't you? Now, what made you change your mind?
You got the story. I killed her. All there is to it.
You know better than that, Mitchell. You know the woman very well?
No, not very well.
What was her name?
Mary.
Mary what?
Mary, that's all. I met her in a bar. I didn't know her well. I killed her. That's all you got to know. I had to.
Why'd you have to, Jim?
I don't have to tell you. I had a reason. Good reason.
Robbery?
I don't have to say.
You have a fight with her? Lover's quarrel?
Maybe. What's the difference?
Well, this bar where you met Mary, that in downtown L.A., was it?
Yeah, it's downtown. She had it coming. I'm glad I did it.
Not worth much, huh?
She was when I met her.
Well, what happened? She go off the deep end?
Guess so. What's the difference? She's dead.
Well, why'd you turn yourself in, Jim? Figure you couldn't beat it?
Maybe.
How do you mean?
I could have stayed out of your way if I wanted to. For a while, anyway. I didn't want to.
Why not, Jim?
Good reason. I'm glad I killed her. She had it coming. Now go ahead and do what you want. I know what the rap is. I'll pay for it.
Well, if you're willing to take the rap, Jim, why not tell us the whole story, huh?
You got the story. I killed her. That's all you need.
Don't you want to brief us in on the details? How it happened, how it came about? Might be extenuating circumstances. You can't tell.
Well, how you mean?
Different things that might throw a new slant on the case. Court's not going to hand down a decision until they get the whole story.
You mean about Mary? I'll never tell them about her. Lousy things she did to me. Never tell anybody about it.
Must have been pretty bad, huh? I mean, the way you took it out on her.
She was rotten. All the way through. I had to kill her.
Well, what happened with the chloroform, Jim? Didn't it work fast enough for you?
Chloroform?
Yeah, uh-huh. Didn't it react on her fast enough for you?
No, it didn't. I hated her.
Yeah, I guess you did. Must have had quite a scrap with her. Struggled quite a bit, didn't you?
Yeah, she fought me all the way. I got her, though. I hated her. Out of my mind, I hated her so much.
Well, we've been trying to figure it out, Jim. What'd you hit her with? I mean, around the head and on the neck. What'd you use? Piece of metal?
Yeah, angle iron.
Uh-huh.
Kind of lost my head. I kept beating her. She tried to scream, but I had my hand over her mouth, and then she fell down. She didn't make a sound after that.
I see. Well, how come you took her jewelry? I mean, if you just wanted to kill her, how is it you took all her valuables, too? Jim?
How about it, Mitchell?
Well, I don't know. Spur of the moment, I guess. I took them, but I didn't keep them. I threw them away. I don't remember where. I'm glad it's over.
All right, Jim. Now, what's this all about? You didn't kill that woman. You know that as well as we do.
Well, what are you talking about? Of course I killed her. She's dead, ain't she? How many times do I have to admit it?
The woman had one mark in her body, Mitchell, a small scratch on the wrist.
Huh?
Not a single wound on the head, none on the neck either.
Well, I killed her. That's all you got to know, not saying anything else.
All the woman's valuables weren't taken either, Jim. She was found with a couple of rings on her hands, an expensive watch, a bracelet, too. Now, come on, Jim. What's the angle here?
You can't prove I didn't do it. You can't prove that.
I think we can.
Now, why can't you just take my word for it? It's the queerest setup I ever saw. I'm willing to admit I killed her, and you won't believe me. What kind of cops are you, anyway?
Where'd you spend last night, Jim? Where were you?
I don't know. I don't remember.
You remember. Now, how about it?
It's the queerest setup I ever saw. Whole town. You wouldn't believe it.
Yeah?
Look, I come here from Alabama. I told you that. I've been here for 22 months. A long time. It's almost 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
Queerest town I ever saw. Thousands of people all over. Millions of them. People all around you, all over the place, everywhere you go. I didn't know any of them. Not a one. They didn't know me. 22 months. Couldn't get to know nobody. I still don't. They don't know me either.
Yeah.
Tried to get acquainted. Just seemed I never could. Nobody knew me. Nobody cared. They didn't even know who I was. Well, what kind of town is that? 22 months right here. They don't even know who I am. Nobody knows. Living alone, you just get sick of it. Get sick and tired of it.
That's what brought all this on, huh?
Well, I mean, at least they'll notice me. They'll know I'm here. I killed a woman. They'll know who I am now.
You ever spent any time in a hospital, Mitchell? Institution?
Now, what'd you have to ask that for? Just because I want to know people, want to notice me? That doesn't make me crazy. Can't be alone all the time. You got to have somebody notice you.
Were you ever in an institution, Jim?
Just once, only a couple of months. It wasn't anything. Look, can't you just forget what I said? I told you I killed the woman. The papers are going to be out pretty soon. Pictures and things. Probably a big write-up.
Yeah.
Well, can't we let it go at that? I killed her. Just forget the rest?
No, I'm afraid not.
Why not? We'll just make out it's that way. People get to know me anyway. At least they'll know I'm around. I won't be alone.
There's no use worrying, Jim.
Huh?
You won't be alone anymore. 1:38 p.m. We continued to question the self-accused suspect, James Mitchell, and he finally told us that he'd been confined for a period of 18 months in a state mental hospital in Alabama. That had been more than 3 years before. The questioning also left no doubt in our mind that Mitchell had nothing at all to do with the death of the unidentified woman. A sister of Mitchell's living in Alabama was contacted, and she agreed to come out west as soon as possible to look after her brother. In the meantime, he was delivered to the care of psychiatrists at the county hospital. The incident of a man confessing guilt of a crime of which he's wholly innocent certainly wasn't anything new. Like police officers all over the country, all over the world, we've come to accept it as almost a routine part of a criminal investigation. Most of the time, the would-be criminal's suffering with mental trouble. Sometimes it's a thirst for notoriety. In any event, they all have to be checked, every one of them. It means time, trouble, and money. Hours of cautious interrogation. More hours of checking stories that have basis only in the imagination of a sick mind. They slow the investigation, they waste hundreds of man-hours, but like anonymous leads or would-be witnesses, they can't be ignored. It's part of the job.
Let's pause right here. More from Dragnet in a moment.
Some people believe the world is getting smaller. At United Van Lines, we believe the world is still the same size. We've just helped to make it easier to get around. Let United show you how making a move to another country is a lot like making a move to another block. The same quality service that helped make us America's #1 mover has also made us one of the world's leading movers with over 1,000 agents worldwide.
Moving soon? Check the Special Value Move Plan with your local United agent.
Did you know your used car can take someone off the street and put them on the road to recovery? The Salvation Army's Vehicle Donation Program is a legitimate charitable program that literally helps thousands of local individuals. The proceeds from your donated car, truck, or boat help them to change lives every day in the Chicagoland area. Make your motor vehicle into a miracle. Call the Salvation Army today with your vehicle donation at 1-877-SA3-AUTO. That's 1-877-SA3-AUTO to arrange the donation of your operable car, truck, boat, or motorcycle. All donations are tax deductible, and transportation can be arranged. Make your gift count in your community. Call the Salvation Army at 1-877-SA3-AUTO. That's 1-877-SA3-AUTO. Don't just make a donation, make a difference.
When love grows cold, you drive the lonesome road. I recall a story, a night of passionate glory. As she merged into my lane, my heart felt light as a feather, for I knew destiny would bring us together.
You idiot!
She teases, but it was kismet, for we both had Farmers Insurance.
At Farmers, we're all about getting you back behind the wheel. Nothing fancy, just auto insurance doing what it's supposed to do. Isn't that what you want?
With our cars mended, our paths crossed again as fate had intended.
Come on, moron! Move it or lose it, pal!
My love is indeed alive.
Farmers, get you back where you belong.
In Elmhurst, call Vincent Valenti. Or in Downers Grove, call William Wittenberg. Or consult the Yellow Pages for the farmer insurance agent nearest you.
The History Channel dedicates this song to all the men who love power tools.
There's a show I saw about a saw, and it made me wonder why. Every time I use a tool, I begin to cry. And when I start to hammer things, it makes me want to sing, 'cause I'm a fool for power tools.
From hand tools to power tools to earth movers, Men at Work Week on Modern Marvels begins Monday night at 10 Eastern, 11 Pacific on the History Channel.
Power tools.
Chocolate pecan pie and nuts over chocolate are not flavors you normally associate with healthy eating. At healthshop.com, we know this. And in fact, it would be tempting to suspect a cruel prank. But we don't believe in hair shirt health anyway. So, we're just going to abandon caution and introduce you to Luna Bars at half price. Luna Bars are made especially for women by the women of Cliff Bars who seem frankly obsessed as we are with enjoying health. So right now, log on to healthshop.com, and with every box of Cliff or Luna Bars you buy, you get another box absolutely free. 2 for 1. It's madness. Luna Bars are made with extra soy protein, calcium, and antioxidants. And with only 180 scrumptious calories, you'll feel like shouting with joy and relief. But don't. Cliff and Luna bars. Buy one box and get one free only at healthshop.com. Because health is the ultimate high.
Hi, I'm Stephen Benario.
And I'm Paul Benario.
And we want to tell you where you can get the best selection and lowest prices on all your home appliance needs.
That's KB Television and Appliance Company, right, Dad?
That's right, Paul. At KBTV, we carry all the best brand names in kitchen appliances, like Maytag, KitchenAid, Sub-Zero, Viking, Bosch, Decor, GE, and dozens more.
And all at great low prices. Plus, we have a great selection of big screen TVs, VCRs, and DVD players from Mitsubishi, Toshiba, and Zenith. We also have convenient evenings and Saturday deliveries available.
Right now, save 40 to 70% on all camcorders and audio equipment in stock.
Come give us a try. We want your business.
KB Television and Appliance Company is located in Darien at Plainfield and Cass, just north of the Stevenson Expressway. Or call 1-800-696-TV-KB for more information.
Remember, KB TV says yes to overall customer satisfaction.
AutoNation USA, it's about lower prices. We're the largest auto retailer in the country, so we can offer low, no-haggle prices on the greatest selection of pre-owned vehicles in the nation. It's about higher standards. All our quality certified pre-owned vehicles have a money-back guarantee and limited warranty. See us for details.
And right now, stop by AutoNation USA in Downers Grove on Finley Road. You can view our inventory on a touchscreen computer or shop outdoors from the convenience of a golf cart. So whether you're looking for a car, truck, van, or sport utility, you're sure to find the vehicle that fits your lifestyle and your budget.
Visit us in person at AutoNation USA in Downers Grove on Finley Road, north of Ogden Avenue and south of Butterfield Avenue. Or visit us online at AutoNationUSA.com. It's about change, and it's about time for AutoNation USA.
Everyone knows the hottest jobs are in the information technology field. But do you have the skills to make your career dreams come true? Whether you're an IT professional looking to get ahead or you're looking for an exciting career change, Microhard Technologies can give you the tools to make you a success in the IT industry. Microhard offers hands-on training programs in MCSE, Novell CNE, Oracle DBA, A+, and Net Plus by CompTIA, and web development and e-commerce programs. With 3 convenient locations in Schaumburg, Oak Brook, and downtown Chicago, Microhard is the #1 certification training center in the Chicagoland area. And Microhard offers day, evening, and weekend programs to fit your busy schedule. So if you're ready to make that career change or advancement, call Microhard at 630-571-0000 for information about their free certification seminars. Learn how to take that first step towards a more fulfilling career. Call 630-571-0000 or visit them on the web at microhard.com. Microhard Technology, the gateway to your solutions.
67 WMAQ.
Now let's get back to the thrills on Dragnet.
Saturday, October 18th. The newspapers continued to cooperate by giving us front page space to the story of the unidentified woman.
Joe?
Yeah, how'd you do?
Nothing. Identification wasn't even close. How about Brian and Lopez? What'd they do on that call of theirs?
Well, they're over at the morgue now with a boy, 16-year-old. Kid was pretty wrought up when he came in.
Well, we sure had a parade of them. All last night, all this morning.
Well, it doesn't hurt our chances any. The more, the better.
I suppose so. Not going to make much headway if we can't identify her. Any answers on the all points we got out on it?
Yeah, 4 of them. They all been checked. Nothing.
Chewing gum, Joe? New kind, tangerine flavor.
No, thanks.
How about that check of the hospitals around town? Anything show up there yet?
No, not so far. The scar on the woman's leg was from an operation, all right. Doc figures it might not have been done in a hospital, though. It was a minor operation. Could have been done in a doctor's office, maybe.
That'd stop it, sure. Tough enough checking hospitals for a record of the operation. Next to impossible to check every doctor in town for it.
Well, even then we could miss. Don't know where the woman's from. She could have had the operation done anywhere. I'll get it. Homicide. Friday talking. Yeah, Tom. I know. You did? That's so. Yeah, okay. Fine. You bet. Thanks, Tom. It was Brian. He and Lopi are driving that boy over to Georgia Street, the 16-year-old.
What happened?
Well, they took the boy to the morgue. They showed him the body, asked him if he recognized it.
What's he say?
It's his mother. 2:05 p.m. Frank and I left the office and drove over to Georgia Street Receiving Hospital. The 16-year-old boy who had identified the dead woman as his mother was being treated for shock and hysteria. The youngster told Brian and Lopez that his name was Arnold Hopkins and that he'd been living with his mother at a Norwood Street address. After he was given a sedative and recovered himself a bit, the boy was driven to the home of his aunt and uncle out near Barnesdale Park. That night, Frank and I called on the boy and found him sufficiently recovered to answer a few questions. He confirmed his identity of the body he'd viewed that afternoon as that of his mother, Mrs. Jeanette Hopkins. He said he was an only child and that his father was dead. He told us his mother had been working for the past 6 years as Coast representative for an Eastern cosmetics firm. We asked him what had happened the night his mother disappeared.
The phone just rang about, when we were finishing dinner. About 8 o'clock, maybe quarter after. Well, when Ma hung up, she said something important come up. She had to go out to see somebody. She said she had to see him right away. She got her coat and left. It's the last time I saw her.
Well, who was she going to see, Arnold? Did she tell you?
No, she didn't. I heard her talking on the phone, though. Heard her say Leo. She said it a couple of times. Leo.
Where was she going to meet this person, Arnold? Did you happen to overhear that?
No, I didn't. I think she said, okay, I'll meet you there, Leo, and she hung up. Then she got her coat, kissed me goodbye, and she went out.
Did she leave on foot or was she driving, you remember?
Oh, on foot. My mother didn't drive. It was Leo, so.
Your mother ever talk about him?
Heard her talking to him on the phone a couple of times. That's about all.
Well, do you know where he lives? What he looks like? Can you tell us anything about him at all?
No, sir, nothing. I wouldn't know him if I saw him.
Saturday, October 18th, 8:30 p.m. Frank Smith and I continued interviewing the dead woman's son, 16-year-old Arnold Hopkins. The big lead pointed in the direction of the man known as Leo, who telephoned Mrs. Hopkins Thursday night, little more than an hour before she died, and made an appointment to meet her. It was a good lead, but it didn't go too far. All the boy could tell us was that the man's name was Leo. He'd heard his mother address a man by that name on the telephone several times, but that was the extent of it. He didn't know Leo's last name. He didn't know where he lived. He had no idea where his mother was to meet the man the night she died. We talked to the boy's aunt and uncle, the dead woman's brother and sister-in-law, but they couldn't help us either. Frank Smith and I obtained a list of all of Mrs. Hopkins' friends and business associates known to the son and the aunt and the uncle. We spent the rest of the weekend checking with them. Most of them gave us pretty much the same story. Mrs. Hopkins was well-liked and well-respected, both in her business and private life. She was devoted to her teenage son. She didn't drink, and socially her behavior was beyond question. She attended church regularly. She was active in several women's clubs, engaged in social and religious work. None of the people we talked to could think of any reason that she would want to end her own life. All of them denied any knowledge of the man known as Leo. Monday afternoon, October 20th, Frank and I had another meeting with the victim's son, Arnold Hopkins. We had him check over the personal effects found on the body.
Yes, sir, that's hers. The other ring, too.
How about this bracelet, sir?
Yes, sir. She always wore that. My dad gave her to her, I think. When he was alive, I mean. She always wore it.
Now, the wristwatch, 2 rings, the bracelet, and this lapel pin here. That's about it, son?
Yes, sir, I guess so. You have her necklace, too.
How's that?
My mother's necklace. She was wearing it that night. She had it on when she left the house. Didn't you find it?
What kind of necklace is it, son? What's it look like?
Oh, it's made like the bracelet is. That one there. See, the two of them go together. It's a set.
Your mother wear expensive jewelry like that every day, did she?
No, sir. She wore the bracelet quite a bit, not the necklace, though. She only wore that when she was dressed up. I thought about it yesterday. I meant to tell you about it.
What's that, son?
Well, right after she got the phone call that night, when she told me she had to go out.
Yeah?
Well, she went back and got her coat, and then she came in the living room and kissed me goodbye. She had the necklace in her hand.
You sure she took it with her?
Oh, yes, sir, I'm positive. After she kissed me goodbye, she went over to the mirror, and I saw her put the necklace on. She was wearing it when she left. I didn't think much about it till later on. Most of the time, she only wears it when she dresses up. She wasn't very dressed up that night.
Joe? Yeah. Can you describe the necklace for us, son? Exactly what it looks like?
Yes, sir, I think I can.
When you saw your mother with a necklace on, did you think to ask her about it?
Yeah, I did. She said she was wearing it because she wanted to look pretty. She was going to meet a good friend.
Mm-hmm. She didn't say where?
No, sir. I guess she was wrong, huh? About her necklace, I mean.
No, son. About her friend. Monday, 3:18 p.m. We got a description of the necklace from the Hopkins boy, confirmed it with his aunt and uncle, and then we double-checked it at the jeweler's, where it had been purchased. After that, we contacted the pawn shop detail and burglary division. The necklace and its description was put on the stolen property list, and copies were sent to second-hand jewelry stores and pawn shops throughout the area. We also got out a broadcast and an APB on it. 4:15 the following afternoon, we got a reply from the San Diego Police Department. A pawn shop owner down there had reported taking in the necklace the Friday before, which matched the description of the one we were looking for. The man who pawned the necklace listed his name in the pawn shop's buy book as Raymond Butler. San Diego officers had checked out the home address that he'd given. It was a vacant lot. The necklace was sent back to Los Angeles, where it was identified as Mrs. Hopkins. The description of the man who'd pawned the necklace was forwarded from San Diego together with a photostatic copy of the suspect's signature, and we got out an all-points bulletin on him. 2 days passed. Nothing. Along with Bryan and Lopez, we continued checking all public places in the general area where the body of Mrs. Hopkins had been found. You got anything, Frank?
Talked to a man by the name of Wagner, Joe. He told me she used to do a lot of traveling, business trips, most of them to San Diego. Wagner says he heard she had a boyfriend down there, a tall, dark-haired fellow. That's all, no name.
I get it. Homicide Friday. What? Oh, yeah, Lopey. Where? Checks out, does it? Yeah, that's good. Fine. Okay, thanks, Lopey. Yeah, right away.
Anything, Joe?
Lopez, he and Brian just checked a bar out in the neighborhood where the body was found. They talked to the bartender in the place, showed him the description of the man who pawned the necklace. Bartender says he knows the man.
You sure?
Pretty sure. He told Brian and Lopey that the man's either a boxer or a wrestler, something like that anyway.
You know the man's name, where he lives?
Says his name's Taylor, no home address.
You know his first name?
Yeah, Leo. 1:25 p.m. After interviewing 4 other people who were in the bar the night of Mrs. Hopkins' death, Lopez and Brian checked back in at the office. They told us that at least one of the 4 persons they talked to, in addition to the bartender, was sure that the description of the suspect who pawned the necklace fitted a man known as Leo Taylor, who was in the bar the previous Thursday night. He was seen in the place between 8:30 and 9 p.m., and he was seen with a woman answering Mrs. Hopkins' general description. The bartender had no idea where the man lived, but he seemed fairly certain of the man's name, Leo Taylor, and his occupation, either wrestling or boxing. 5:05 p.m. We made a run on Taylor's name and description through R&I, and we got a make. We checked his handwriting, and that matched out also. He had 1 previous arrest for assault and disorderly conduct. His residence was a West 11th Street address. We checked it out, but he'd moved 6 months before. The landlady had no forwarding address on him, but she told us one of the places he used to frequent was a gym on South Olive down near Olympic. We ran it down.
How about it? All right, come on. I'm getting tired of pushing it back. Come on.
I checked with a fellow in the office over there, Joe. Says the man we want's taking a shower back there, locker room.
All right.
Take a look at it. Sure.
In here?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Hey, excuse me. Your name Leo Taylor?
How's that?
I said, are you Leo Taylor?
Yeah, that's right. What is it?
Police officers would like to talk to you.
Oh, I'm taking a shower right now. You want to wait a while?
Well, keep, Taylor. We want to talk to you now.
All right. All right, what's the rush? What's it all about?
I want to talk to you downtown.
What do you want me downtown for?
A routine check. Like to ask you a few questions.
About what?
Jeanette Hopkins?
That's so? What about her?
When's the last time you saw the woman, Taylor?
I don't know. A couple of months ago. At least that. Why?
We can talk about it downtown.
Well, let's talk now. It'll take me a little time to get dressed. What's the pitch?
You know as well as we do.
You want to throw me that shirt, Mac? Thanks. What do you mean I know as well as you do? Know what?
No rush, Leo. We can talk downtown.
I read about it in the papers. It's a terrible thing. I was going to look her up one of these days. It's too bad.
You live in Los Angeles, Taylor?
Yeah, why?
Ever get down to San Diego?
Once in a while, not too often. You don't think I had anything to do with it, do you?
How do you mean, Leo? With what?
I mean, Jeanette, she's dead. You don't think I had a hand in it, do you?
I tell you, I'm on a level with you, Leo. We've been on this thing a week. We've got you placed in San Diego. We've got you placed here. You say you haven't seen Mrs. Hopkins for 2 months. We can do a lot better than that. You were with her in San Diego 2 weeks ago. You were drinking with her in a bar out there last Thursday night. You were with her 20 minutes before she died. We got all we need, Leo.
Got my coat there, the gray one?
Check the pockets, Frank.
Yeah.
Gonna take a lot of proof. I guess you know that. Gonna take a lot of it.
We got it.
You better have. Let's see. Keys, wallet, comb. Yeah. Okay, let's go.
No, just a minute, Leo.
Yeah?
Pawn ticket here. You forgot it.
The story you have just heard was true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
On January 28th, trial was held in Superior Court, Department 89, City and County of Los Angeles, State of California.
When confronted with the evidence and testimony against him, Leo Francis Taylor broke down and confessed to the murder of Mrs. Jeanette Hopkins. She'd been paying blackmail to Taylor in order to keep their affair secret, but a month before her death, she refused to pay him any more. Taylor threatened her again, and she agreed to give him the necklace as a final payoff. At their meeting, Taylor demanded cash. His victim threatened him with arrest, and he administered the chloroform. Taylor was tried and found guilty of first-degree murder and was sentenced to a life term in the state penitentiary. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department. Technical advisors Captain Jack Donahoe, Sergeant Marty Wynn, Sergeant Vance Brasher. Heard tonight were Herb Ellis, Mick Perrin, Gil Stratton, Jack Crucian. Script by Jim Mosey. Music by Walter Schumann. Hal Gibney speaking.
And that's Dragnet and The Big Whiff, starring my friend Jack Webb, as originally broadcast June 5th, 1952. I'm Stan Freeberg. Would you pay $60 for 60 of the greatest old-time radio shows of all time? Imagine, just $1 per half-hour program. Hard to believe? Well, now you can by ordering Old Time Radio's Greatest Shows, a 60-episode collection for only $60. Burns and Allen, The Lone Ranger, Our Miss Brooks, the...
Ladies and gentlemen, you may now read Dragnet every day on the comic page of your favorite newspaper. Please consult your local daily paper. The story you are about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Fatima Cigarettes. Best of all, king-size cigarettes brings you Dragnet on both radio and television.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to bunco detail. A team of confidence men are taking thousands of dollars from the people of your city. Their method of operation? Posing as solicitors for different charitable causes. There's no lead to their whereabouts. Your job? Stop them. Compare Fatima with any other king-size cigarette.
Yes, compare Fatima with any other king-size cigarette.
1. Fatima's length filters the smoke 85 millimeters for your protection.
2. Fatima's length cools the smoke for your protection.
3. Fatima's length gives you those extra puffs, 21% longer than standard cigarette size.
Fatima gives you more for your money.
And in king-size Fatima, you get an extra mild and soothing smoke, plus the added protection of Fatima quality. Buy Fatima in the bright, sunny yellow pack.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Tuesday, February 16th. It was cold in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of bunco detail. My partner's Bill Lockwood. The boss is Captain Steed. My name's Friday. We were on the way out from the office, and it was 2:18 p.m. when we got to First and Valencia, the West Valley Hotel. Over here to the left, Joe. No, yeah. Excuse me?
Oh, sorry, we're all filled up. No more room.
No, we don't want to register. Here we are, police officers. I'd like to check one of your guests.
You have a Raymond Seidel registered? Seidell.
Let's see. No, there's no Raymond Seidel registered.
Small man, about 5'6", 130 pounds, tan complexion, between 35 and 40, wears horn-rimmed glasses.
Well, I don't know. What's the trouble anyway?
Anyone like that registered here?
Well, I was just about to say there's no Raymond Seidel. We got a Raymond Singer, though. A small fella. He wears glasses.
Yeah.
I'd say he was about 35 or 40.
He in his room now?
No, matter of fact, he just left a minute ago. He went out for lunch, I think, just before you fellas walked in.
Where's he usually eat, you know?
Our coffee shop right next door. He's got a gray top coat on, gray hat.
Okay, thanks.
You can use that door right here. It connects with the coffee
Right,
shop.
thank you.
Spot him?
Yeah, far into the counter up by the front door, see him?
Yeah, description checks out.
All right, come on.
Spotted us going for the front door.
All right, police officers, hold it up there.
Making a run for it.
All right, come on. This way.
Where'd he go? I lost him.
Alley up ahead. He ducked in there.
Down the ramp, Joe. Hotel garage. Ran in there.
All right, come on, let's hurry. You spot him, Bill?
No. Any other way out beside this ramp?
Wait a minute. Yeah, down the far end there. Another exit. I'll take that. You cover this end.
Right.
Hey, watch it, Bill. He's coming out. The blue sedan.
All right, hold it. Look out, Joe. Coming at us.
I'll go for his tire. All right, come on, Bill.
All right, stay where you are.
All right, don't shoot. Don't shoot.
All right, then hold it right there.
What's the pitch, anyway? Wasn't doing anything.
Hands behind you.
Raymond Seidel, is that right?
That's right. I wasn't doing anything. What's this all about?
You know as well as we do.
Look what you did in my car. Just look at it.
You cracked it up, mister. We didn't. Come on.
Come on, where? I haven't done anything.
We want to talk to you downtown.
I'm not saying anything. You can talk to my lawyer. Get the story from him.
We already got it. Come on, let's go. 2:35 p.m. We took the suspect, Raymond Seidel, back to the hotel with us, where we checked his room thoroughly. Bill got on the phone, made arrangements to have Seidel's car impounded and a stakeout placed at the hotel. Then we drove back to the city hall and took the suspect to the interrogation room. A check through our Records and Identification Bureau earlier in the day had revealed a fair-sized record for Seidel. He'd had 4 previous local arrests, 2 for petty theft, 1 for second-degree burglary, 1 for grand theft auto. He'd been convicted on one of the petty thefts and also on the burglary charge, for which he'd served time in the state penitentiary at San Quentin. Bill and I started questioning him. The first half hour, we got nowhere.
I told you, I haven't been doing anything. I've been clean ever since I got out.
Where were you last night, Ray?
Knocking around town.
What'd you do?
Had a couple of drinks, went to a show, came out and went to see some bimbo I know.
What's her name?
Helen, lives up on South Custer, and you can ask her. She'll tell you I was there.
What time did you see her?
About 10 o'clock. Yeah, just about.
You're a liar, Ray.
Hmm?
You're a liar.
Who gives you a call to say that? It's the truth.
And 4 other people must be lying.
Well, what do you mean, what other people?
You know what I mean. Now, how about it, Ray?
I don't know what you mean, so help me. I don't.
Why don't you give it up, Seidel? You ought to know better. We wouldn't have you down here if we didn't have you pegged.
Pegged for what? I don't even know what you're talking about.
All right, then I'll tell you, Ray. About 8:30 last night, you put in a call to a Mr. and Mrs. Gerald Keyes. They live out in East Hollywood, Gladstone, 3962. Mrs. Keyes answered the phone. You told her you were taking contributions for European children, war orphans. You knew she was interested in the cause. You asked her for a donation.
You're crazy. That wasn't me. I don't even know that.
You done Mrs. Keyes, and she agreed to contribute. She offered $50. You talked her up to $150. She asked you where to send the money, and you said never mind. You'd be out to collect it. 45 minutes later, you were out there. You parked your car by a candy store down the street from the Keyes' home. You walked up the block to the Keyes' place, collected the money, and you left.
Now, you prove it was me. You prove
We got it cold, Seidel. Mrs. Keyes' husband got suspicious about the setup. 45 minutes after you phoned, you were at the front door with your hand out. You had no credentials, nothing. He noticed you parked your car down the street instead of in front of the house. You got the license number of your car when you pulled away. So the owner of the candy store. You parked your car just outside his place. All 3 of them can describe you and your car. Mr. Keyes, Mrs. Keyes, the man at the candy store.
Yeah, they're right.
Getting over to you, Ray?
Gonna take more than a couple of people to build a case.
All right, we got more. You gave Mrs. Keyes a signed receipt for the $150. You signed it Tom Seidel. Our handwriting man checked the signature with a specimen of your handwriting we got from your package. Now, they both checked, not a doubt in the world. What do you say?
I don't know. What would you say?
It's your jam. What's the story?
There isn't any. Why should I dig my grave?
Any way you want it. You're going to stay on the load for the last 2 months, including the one you pulled last night. It makes 14 cases.
It's a lie. It's a lousy lie.
Cigarette, Ray?
What are you trying to do to me anyway? 14 jobs. I never hustled that hard in my life.
That's how many we've had in the last couple of months.
Why load them on me?
Every one of them follow the same general M.O. Same way you worked it last night. We don't know where you got your list of names, but you contact people who are interested in different charities. You pose as an authorized solicitor. You get their money, and then you take off. The last 2 months, you've been collecting for more than 10 different drives. European Orphans, a milk fund, summer camp for underprivileged kids, crippled children's fund. The people give their money in good faith, and you take off with it.
Look,
your M.O. follows all the way through. It's a sour racket, Ray. We're going to lean hard on you.
I said, will you wait a minute? No, when I'm done, I'll give you the story.
Yeah?
I'm not taking the whole load on my back. I'll cop out to the one last night, but that's all.
You look good for all of them.
Look, will you give me a chance? The one last night was a first try for me. It's the only one I ever tried. I'm squaring with you. I was crazy even to make a pass at it. I should have known better. I'm not a bunk man.
We already told you, Ray. Last night's a close match with the other jobs. You say you'll cop out to 1. How do we account for the other 13?
Just among us. Whatever I say, I don't want credit for.
All right. What's the pitch?
Can I have that cigarette now?
Yeah. There you are.
Yeah, thanks.
Here's a match.
Thanks. I got another thing Sunday night. Doing a little drinking at this place on Boyle Avenue. There were a couple of guys at the bar who were talking about it. I didn't know them.
Talking about what?
The racket. Getting a list of marks and collecting charity money from them. These two guys weren't working it. They just heard it was going on. They were yakking to the bartender about it. They figured some out-of-town grifters were doing it.
And you figured you'd get in on the bandwagon, is that
Well,
it?
I thought I'd try a couple of jobs, that's all. Need a few bucks to tide me over. Didn't look like much of a risk.
How do you mean?
Well, I heard about the M.O. the grifters were using. Pretty simple to copy. I followed it through just the way I heard they did it. They had a half-dozen jobs under their belt already. If you knocked them over and they had to stand the rap, a couple of jobs of mine wouldn't make any difference.
Free ride, is that what you figured on?
Well, what's the difference? I didn't get it. Figured you'd catch up with them and they'd take the rap for my jobs along with their own. And it's just my luck. You get me instead, and now I'm up to stand the rap for everything.
Now, it's a pretty fair story, Ray. Any way of proving it?
Sure, easy. These grifters started working here 2 months ago, didn't they? They hit pretty hard the first week or so, didn't they?
Yeah.
Well, I wasn't even in town then. Wasn't here the whole month. I was up in Monterey.
Any way of proving that?
Sure, ask the sheriff up there.
Huh?
Ask the sheriff. He'll tell you.
Why should he know anything about it?
He ought to. He had me in jail the whole month.
3:40 p.m. While Bill continued questioning the suspect, Raymond Seidel, I went down the hall to the squad room and put in a call to the Monterey County Sheriff's Office. They confirmed Seidel's story. He'd been arrested in the town of Monterey December 13th, approximately 2 months before, on charges of vagrancy and suspicion of robbery. He was confined in the county jail there from December 13th to January 15th, the same period of time during which the unidentified bunco men had started their campaign of falsely soliciting funds for various charities. While the information cleared Seidel of any part in the bunco charity operations throughout the city that month, he still had to answer for his actions the night before, soliciting contributions falsely from the couple out in East Hollywood, Mr. and Mrs. Keys. After his statement was taken, Bill Lockwood and I drove Seidel to the main jail, where we booked him in on suspicion of 48 PC petty theft. Further investigation the next day and a half seemed to indicate that the last story we got from Seidel was pretty close to the facts. It was the case of a small-time thief imitating the apparently successful formula of a veteran team of bunco artists, an imitation which in the criminal world is far from unusual. A week passed. Despite the broadcasts, the bulletins, and the special notices we'd gotten out on the suspects and their operations, there were 3 more cases reported. One of them came from a Mrs. Teresa Guilfoyle, the woman in charge of the crippled children's home. Bill and I drove out to talk to her.
This is the first thing I want to show you, officers.
What's that mean?
This way, please.
Go ahead, Bill. Yes, ma'am?
Dear sweetheart, there are 2 gentlemen here I'd like to have you meet. Stephen, this is Sergeant Friday, and this is Officer Lockwood, their policeman. This is Stephen, officers. He's 3 years old.
Well, how are you, Stephen?
Hello, son.
He'd like to say hello, officers, but he can't. His legs aren't his only trouble. He can't hear. He can't talk either.
Oh, it's too bad.
You're learning, though, aren't you, sweetheart? You bet you are. A little while with us, and you'll be talking a blue streak. All right, honey. You run along and play now. Real sweetheart, isn't he? I wanted you to meet him so you could see what this means to us. When I look at children like that, this whole mess just makes my blood boil.
Yes, ma'am. We see what you mean.
It's hard enough getting people to contribute money to keep this place open, help those poor kids to walk and talk. Thieves have to make it even harder. The way things are, I can't see how we're going to get through the year.
Oh, how much do you estimate it's cost you, Mr. Guilfoyle? I mean, how much in donations have these phony solicitors taken?
Well, I know of at least $700 they've collected from different people. Lord knows how much more money they got that was supposed to go to the home. I suppose a lot of people still think they gave their money to the right person.
Well, did you receive the notice we sent out about 6 weeks ago, ma'am, about how these thieves operated?
Yes, I did. I made a special note of it. When we sent out our annual appeal letter to our regular donors, most of your notice was incorporated right in it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what happened. I guess they didn't pay any attention to it.
When did you first find out something was wrong, ma'am?
It was yesterday morning. One of our regular donors, Mr. Baxter, called me. He wanted to know if we received his contribution all right. He wondered because he didn't receive his regular thank you note. That's when he told me about this man who came to his house and collected the money.
I see.
As soon as I heard that, 2 of the other girls and myself got on the phone and called every one of the regular donors. There were 10 of them, just like Mr. Baxter. Gave their good money to help these tots, and we never received a penny of it. I've got all their names and addresses here if you'd like them.
Yes, ma'am.
You're welcome to them if you want them.
Yes, that'll be fine. We'd like to check with each one of them. Now, this is the complete list, all the regular donors who contributed and their money wasn't received. Is that right?
Well, yes, sir, all those we know of. There's probably a lot more, I suppose. You've been in police work for a few years, haven't you, Sergeant? You must have met all kinds.
Yes, ma'am, I suppose so.
What kind would you say these men are? I mean, going around and stealing the little regular income we have from donations. What kind of persons can they be?
Well, there's thousands of them, Ms. Guilfoyle. They walk every city in the world. They want money. They want everything that goes with it. They'll do anything but work for it.
But the money these men are stealing, they must know it's for these crippled children to help them walk again, help them talk, little kids like Stephen.
Yes, ma'am.
And these men call themselves human beings. And they take help away from a child like that. Humans. I couldn't be more ashamed of them. Ashamed to live in the same city with them.
Yes, ma'am.
You'd think God would punish them. You'd think God would come down and punish them right now.
Well, maybe he's even ashamed. Before we left, Mrs. Guilfoyle gave us a complete list of the names and addresses of donors who contributed annually to the upkeep of the crippled children's home. For the next couple of days, Bill and I contacted each one of them personally. Those people who'd already given their contributions to the thieves unknowingly were unable to help us. Their descriptions of the men who solicited money from them in the name of the crippled children's home generally duplicated the descriptions we'd gotten from the previous victims. None of them were very detailed, but they did seem to confirm our theory that there were 2 or more men involved in the bunco operation. Receipts for the money they'd given the thieves were signed either by a Fred Wellman or a Norman Archer. The handwriting varied in each case. Those donors on the list who had not yet been contacted were the best hope we had of reaching the suspects. Since the crippled children's home appealed for funds only through the mail, we advised these people to get in touch with us immediately if anyone contacted them by phone and asked for contributions. A few more days passed. Monday, February 27th. We got a call back from one of these donors, a Mr. George Stage of the Consolidated Pool Company out in the valley. We located him supervising work at the site of one of their pool constructions in the Toluca Lake area.
Oh, yeah, glad to see you again, Sergeant. Say, could you hold on just a minute? I want to test that batch of mud and see if the mixture's right. Won't take a minute.
Yes, sir. Go right ahead.
Andy, come here a minute, will you? How's that mixture look to you?
Sure a nice-looking pool, isn't it, Bill?
Big one. Sure be nice to have, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Why don't you look into it?
It's about all I could afford to do right now, look into it.
Okay, Sergeant, 6 to an even. Want to go over by the truck, do some of this racket so we can talk?
All right, that's fine.
I hope I got something for you. Not sure if it'll be worth anything to you.
You said on the phone you got a call last night.
Well, I didn't. My wife did. They wanted to talk to me, but I wasn't home yet. Out finishing a pool for some folks in Encino.
Uh-huh.
Have a seat there if you want. Clean off this running board for you.
Oh, that's all right. Fine. Good. Well, what was the gist of the phone call, Mr. Stage? Who was it?
Well, as I say, the wife answered. Fella told her his name was Mr. Archer. Said he was collecting for the crippled kids' home. Of course, the wife knew the setup. After you talked to me, I warned her about the phony collectors going around.
What'd she tell the man, sir?
Well, she didn't get a chance to tell him anything. He did most of the talking. Gave her a big spiel about how much the poor crippled kids needed help. The wife asked him if he'd leave a number so I could call him back when I got home.
Well, did he leave a number?
No. He gave some phony excuse. He wouldn't be at the same phone, something like that.
No.
Went out to ask her if she couldn't make out a check. Said he could come right out to pick it up. His wife said no, she couldn't. Matter of fact, she couldn't. I've got the checkbook. Excuse me. Andy, get one of the boys to help you down the hole. You can't do that all by yourself. My partner, Andy's a great worker.
Yes, sir. Well, what was the upshot of the phone conversation between Archer and your wife on this?
Well, she kept asking for a phone number or an address, someplace where I could get back to him when I got home. I guess they got it figured, though. He wouldn't give her a thing.
And that's the way it ended, sir?
Yes, sir, that's it. Might be I'll have better luck, though.
How do you mean?
Well, this fella Archer told the wife he'd call me back tonight.
You are listening to Dragnet, authentic stories of your police force in action.
Because of its quality, its extra mildness, its better flavor and aroma, more smokers coast to coast are switching to king-size Fatimas every day.
Prove Fatima quality yourself.
Compare Fatima with any other king-size cigarette.
1. Fatima's length filters the smoke 85 millimeters for your protection.
2. Fatima's length cools the smoke for your protection.
3. Fatima's length gives you those extra puffs, 21% longer than standard cigarette size.
Fatima gives you more for your money.
And in king-size Fatima, you get an extra mild and soothing smoke, plus the added protection of Fatima quality.
Friends, in Fatima, the difference is quality. Fatima contains the finest tobaccos superbly blended. And Fatima is extra mild, with a much different, much better flavor and aroma. Remember, Fatima gives you more for your money because it's king size and because you get the added protection of Fatima quality. Look for the bright sunny yellow pack. Switch to Fatima today.
Monday, February 27th, 1:30 p.m. As soon as we found out there was a possibility that one of the bunco suspects might contact the potential victim, George Stage, that night, Bill and I started making arrangements to be ready for him. At 6:45 p.m., we were at the Stage home when the suspect telephoned. He identified himself as Norman Archer. George Stage followed our instructions to the letter. He agreed to make a contribution and asked Archer to call at his home to pick up the check. He set the date for 9 o'clock that night to allow us enough time for preparations. We got in touch with Lieutenant Lee Jones at the crime lab, and he sent out 2 of his sound technicians with a microphone set up and a tape recorder. By 8 p.m., the installation was complete. The microphone concealed in the living room of the Stage home and the tape recorder set up in an adjoining room. Bill and I were stationed at the recorder in the bedroom. 8:30, 8:45. We waited. 9 p.m., 9:05.
Somebody at the front door.
Yeah. You want to give me that headset, Bill?
Here you go.
Thank you. Okay. You want to turn on the recorder?
Right, Joe.
Yo, Mr. Stage? Yes, sir, that's right. My name's Norman Archer, Mr. Stage. I'm glad to know you. Oh, yeah, Archer. Glad to meet you. Come on in. Thank you. Very nice place you have here. Comfortable. We're pretty happy with it. Well, sit down, Archer. Thank you. Well, say, I hope I'm not interrupting your evening, Mr. Stage. Oh, no, that's all right. Just sitting here watching television. I see. Well, I don't want to take up a moment of your time. I don't suppose I have to tell you what a worthy cause it is I represent, Crippled Children's Home. I'm glad to make a donation. It's one of my favorite charities. I'm certainly happy to hear that, sir. Really, you haven't any idea how much good your money does. Those little tots out at home really need our help, all the help we can give them. I suppose they do. Are you one of the officials out at the home? Well, yes, I suppose you'd call it that. I'm one of the authorized collectors for the maintenance fund. I have a receipt here for your donation, all made out in your name. Here we are. I suppose you know that all donations to the home are deductible from your income tax. Yeah. Well, here we are. See, it's all filled out, your name and address. This space here I'll left vacant, the amount of your contribution. I'll fill it out right now. All right. How much would you like me to put you down for, sir? Well, I don't know. I don't have too much cash on hand. Will a check be all right? Well, naturally, we don't like to be fussy, but it does help our bookwork. The donations are made in cash, still pays the handling of funds. Oh, well, I've only got $20 or $30 in cash. I'd like to give more than that. You sure a check wouldn't be all right? Well, as I say, it's simple if the donation is cash, but a check is all right. Check's fine. Okay. Make it out for you now. All I've got here is my company check. How's that? Company checks are all I have here. Consolidated Pool Company. I guess it'll work just as good. Be like a donation from the company. Oh, fine. Now, how should I make that out now payable to the Crippled Children's Home? No, the home doesn't have a commercial banking account. It's not incorporated, you know. Oh, isn't it? I thought it was. No, I usually handle the check donations through my personal account. So if you just make it out to me, we have to simplify bookwork. It takes a lot of work to run a home like that, and we can't afford a bookkeeper either. See. I'll make it out to, sorry, what's your first name again? Norman Archer. A-R-C-H-E-R. How much shall I put you down for? Well, let's see. I think I gave $200 last year. Yeah, I think that was it. Yes, we certainly appreciate it, too. Of course, it's like everything else. Our maintenance costs have gone up. We give those youngsters nothing but the best. I mean, if you could see your way clear to make it a little more this year, we'd certainly thank you for it. That goes for those crippled kids, too. Well, I guess I could make it a little more. We've had a pretty good year. Let's make it $250. That'd be fine. That's wonderful. Sure appreciate it, Mr. Stage. Really, if it wasn't for such a great cause, I'd be embarrassed asking you for money. No, not at all. Only glad I can afford it. Here you are. You better watch the ink. I think it's still wet. Thank you very much, sir. I guess I don't have to tell you again how much we appreciate it. Let's see. Where did I put my hat? It's right outside in the hallway. Oh, yes. Thank you. Well, I'll see that your check gets in the bank first thing in the morning. All right. Thanks for coming out. Pleasure, Mr. Stage. Thank you. You don't know how much this check means to us. I think I do. Good night.
You hear it all right? You hear what he said?
Yes, sir. We got it.
How rotten can you get, huh?
Yes, sir. Bill, do you want to take a look out the window?
Right.
Mr. Stage, will you leave that tape recorder right where it is? Don't let anyone touch it. We'll be back.
Yeah, all right. He's pulling out, Joe, heading down the street, Grace Sedan.
All right, let's go. We'll call you, Mr. Stage.
Yeah, okay.
You see him, Bill?
Down past the next block.
All right, let's hurry. Go ahead, slide on my side. Now, let's keep the lights off for a couple of blocks. Don't get them excited.
All right.
Can you see him? The one turning left, Gray Sedan. Is that him?
Let's see. Yeah, that's it.
All right. Pull up close if you can, huh? See if we can make his license.
Give it a try. How's that?
A little closer. Okay, that's fine. 1 sugar 16605.
All right.
I'll check it and see if it's hot. 1K80 to control 1. 1K80 to control 1.
Control 1 to 1K80. All other cars on frequency 6 stand by.
1K80 to control 1. Request rolling make for stolen and DMV on 1 sugar 16605. Repeat, 1S16605. KMA 367.
Control 1 to 1K80. 1 sugar 16605. Stand by.
I should have gotten a good look at him, Bill. Might have recognized him, huh?
Yeah, I couldn't take a chance. Anyway, it's worth more if we get him and his partner together. Wrap it all up in one. Save us a lot of headaches.
Yeah, well, don't lose him. He turned left up the next corner.
Yeah, I saw him. He hasn't made it.
Yeah, I think we're in the clear. All right, you can turn your lights on, huh?
All right.
Control 1 to 1K80. Control 1 to 1K80. 1 sugar 16605, no want. Car is a 1950 Pontiac, 2-door sedan. Registered to Charles A. Sutton, 5840 Octavia Street, Los Angeles. Motor number 1 Adam 6 Paul 3342. Legal the same. KMA 367.
1K80 to control 1. Would you check records for Charles A. Sutton? Age and description unknown. Rush request. We have suspect under rolling surveillance.
Control 1 to 1K80. Roger.
Looks like he's slowing down, Joe. Yeah.
All right, don't press him. Yeah, he's pulling up. He stopped there.
Better cut the lights.
Yeah, pull up right here, huh?
Can you see him?
Yeah. Going up to that house. Porch light on.
Yeah. Must be where he keeps his pad. Acts like he's been there before.
There's a man answering the door. He's going in.
Control 1 to 1K80. Come in.
1K80 to control 1. Go ahead.
Control 1 to 1K80. We have a Charles A. Sutton, WMA, 42 years, 5'9", 163 pounds, brown hair, blue eyes. He has a long felony record, suspicion of robbery, suspicion of burglary, grand theft, bunco. Also 3 outstanding traffic warrants. License number 1 sugar 16605.
1K80 to control 1. Roger. KMA 367.
What do you think?
Let's take him.
Right.
All right, you want to take the back, Bill? I'll go in the front.
Okay, give me a second to get around.
Right.
Yeah?
Police officer, want to talk to you. All right, come on, open it up.
Cops, hurry, the cops!
All right, hold it right there against the wall.
All right, you're back inside, police officers. Joe, all right?
Yeah, did you get him all right?
It's okay. Come on up front, you.
What are you trying to do? What's this all about?
We'll talk downtown. You know what it's all about.
All right, over next to your partner.
What are you doing anyway? You haven't got anything on us.
You want to get the cuffs on him, Bill?
Stand still, both of you.
Here's mine.
What's the pitch here anyway? Harry and I haven't done anything.
Yeah.
Busting in here like this, private house, you got no business here.
$250 says you're wrong.
What?
This check in your right-hand pocket. All right, come on, let's go.
The story you have just heard was true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
On May 28th, trial was held in Superior Court, Department 88, City and County of Los Angeles, State of California. In a moment, the results of that trial.
Now, here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you, George Fenneman. Friends, this coming weekend, I'd like to suggest that you put Fatimas at the top of your shopping list. You'll find it's mighty convenient to have enough Fatimas around the house to last into the next week. When you shop, just look for the bright, sunny yellow carton. You'll find Fatima gives you an extra mild and soothing smoke. And remember, Fatima gives you more for your money because it's king size and because you get the added protection of Fatima quality. Get a carton tomorrow. Fatima.
Charles A. Sutton and his accomplice, Harold B. Mather, were tried and convicted on 3 counts of grand theft money and received sentences as prescribed by law. Grand theft is punishable by imprisonment in the state penitentiary for not less than 1 nor more than 10 years. The initial suspect, Seidel, pled guilty to petty theft and received a sentence of 1 year in the county jail. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department. Technical advisors Captain Jack Donahoe, Sergeant Marty Wynn, Sergeant Vance Frazier. Heard tonight were Ken Peters, Virginia Gregg, Vic Rodman. Script by Jim Moser. Music by Walter Schumann. Hal Gibney speaking.
King Size Fatima, made by the same people who make popular Chesterfield cigarettes, has brought you Dragnet, transcribed from Los Angeles.
Each Thursday night, it's Counter Spy on NBC.